we need to talk about why mocks are so stressful. That's probably why you're here. Mocks, in a way, are the most ridiculous things that schools make you do. And I'm not criticising schools for that, I'll explain in a minute. But imagine you're running a marathon in June. It would be completely insane for your coach to say, let's go out and run a marathon in November or December so that you know what one feels like. Well, because it would feel awful, you would do terribly at it, and if you trained properly, that experience would be nothing like you'll get when you eventually do the marathon in June. Well, it's the same with the mocks. It doesn't really make any sense to put you through these full exams now and break you with them and pretend that that's excellent preparation for June. It isn't. And added to that, of course, is the stress you feel when you're revising for the mocks, because you don't have enough time to revise for all the mocks, which builds stress, which raises your cortisone levels, which stops you remembering what you're revising anyway, and you get more stressed, you learn less. Another reason that schools give you mocks is they think, well, you'll remember the experience of doing the exam and it will give you a kick up the arse to work harder for the real thing. But actually, it's probably the reverse that will happen. You'll think, oh, I revised really intensely for a week. I got my mock results. I didn't do too well. I'm never going to be able to fit all that revision in for the real exams. Oh, I might as well just give up now. Now, you'll fight that, but that will still be the urge that many of you will have, produced by the mocks. So I'm going to give you some solutions that will help you make the most of your terrible mock experience. Solution number one, an amazing fact. Your brain is evolved not as a learning machine, but as a forgetting machine. That's right, your brain is evolved to forget stuff. This is what the brain does. All the information it takes in every day, it tries to get rid of. It doesn't want to think about that unless it's necessary. This actually has a name. It's called the forgetting curve. The brain is designed to forget stuff quickly. Now, to make your brain actually pay attention to what you want to learn, you have to test it. The brain then goes, oh, I think this might be a little bit important. I need to know that saber-toothed tigers are dangerous or I might lose my life. I'm going to pay attention to this. And it builds a stronger neural pathway. So the information can be retrieved more quickly next time. But then it starts to forget, and then it sees saber-toothed tiger droppings in the forest and thinks, aha, I know this is important, and the brain builds a stronger neural pathway. So what happens is this: when you test your brain, it builds stronger memories. But this is where the forgetting curve becomes really useful. If you keep testing your brain on the same stuff, it won't bother learning it because it knows the same stuff is going to keep coming up. It'll never have to forget it. However, if you put in big gaps, a week, 2 weeks, a month, and so on, then the brain will work really hard to build those neural pathways to remember stuff. What does this mean for your mock? Well, it means that the mock is an occasion where your brain has got to build neural pathways to remember more. But revising for the mock is not the thing that's going to help you remember. Going back to the mock later and working on the stuff you didn't know, that's going to be the superpower that makes the forgetting curve work. So this bit of advice will seem slightly insane to you, but it's what you've got to do. You've got to take the big mark questions that you didn't do well in the mock, whatever your subject, but obviously we care most about English, don't we? Don't we? So you've got to take those questions and you've got to do the same questions again in your revision, spaced out over weeks and months. In other words, this mock will have been an almost complete waste of time unless you redo it in stages over the next few weeks and months. Now, let's stick with English. Why wouldn't we? The big mark questions are your essay style questions. And I'm going to argue that at least 40% of your marks in an essay style question are not for what you know, but for how well you can write a well-argued essay. So this changes what your revision of the mock should look like, instead of just trying the same question again, you need to go to your teacher and say, look, I want to get a grade, let's call it a 9. I want to get a grade 9. Can you give me some grade 9 answers that students in our school did in the mock so that I can learn them and then try and reproduce my own grade 9 answer under exam conditions? Your teacher will say, I don't think that's fair. I think that might be cheating. And so you will say, no, that isn't cheating, because listen, I'm going to do some extra revision, and in that revision, I'm going to learn how to write brilliant essays over and above what I know about the texts. And so the only way for me to learn how to write brilliant essays is if you give me some brilliant essays, and then I test my understanding of whether I can write brilliant essays by trying to write a brilliant essay. Because if your essay isn't brilliant at the end of it, it isn't because you didn't know the right stuff to put in the essay, it's because you didn't know how to put the essay together. And that will be fantastic for you to learn. In fact, learning how to put an essay together will be even more valuable than whatever you learn about Macbeth or Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde or A Christmas Carol or whatever else you're lucky enough to be studying. Because the essay writing skill will help you for life, whereas the text, hell, you might not even like it and never read it again. Okay. 70% of English language is in questions 5 and 4. So obviously you'll do questions 5 and 4 in your revision and you'll forget about the other questions. Your teachers will cover them in class anyway. Who cares? And you'll use the same approach. Miss or sir, can I please have the top answers in my class so that I can see if I can reproduce them from the mocks under time conditions myself? So your next step is to think, what were the 2020 exams supposed to contain? Because those exam papers are still there in the examiner's hands. They're waiting to whack them out for you in 2022. The chances are it won't be the 2019 kind of questions which you're likely to get in your mock, because I don't know why teachers do that, but they do. So you're likely to get a mock paper that is almost definitely not going to come up again in 2022. So you really need to be looking at the 2018 and the 2017 papers to try and predict what's going to come up next. Well, why not short circuit that and say to your teacher, you're the professional, could you please try and give me your best guess as to what's going to come up? Your teacher will very likely say no. And the reason for that is they fear. They fear that the school's reputation will be damaged if students don't get high marks. They fear that you won't get high marks if you only revise the things that they tell you to revise and they don't come up. And that is a totally rational fear. So you have to reassure your worried teacher that you will do other revision. You won't just base it on their predictions of what could come up, but you could make it easier for your teacher and better for yourself by doing this. Can you give me top grade essays on the 3 most likely questions to come up on this text? Now, not only will your teacher be giving you 3 things to revise and therefore reduce the teacher's fear that you will revise the wrong stuff, you will also be getting grade 9 essays on that stuff to learn from, to see if you can reproduce in time conditions yourself. There is a massive probability that one of those 3 questions will definitely occur in 2022. But even if it doesn't, those 3 questions put together will 99% certain answer the actual question that you get. In other words, you'll be able to take what you know from those 3 essays and apply it brilliantly to get your grade 9 in the exam, but only if you're revising from grade 9 essays. How else are you supposed to learn what a grade 9 essay looks like? There isn't another way, is there? And so, if your teacher says no, say, how else am I going to learn what a grade 9 essay looks like? But do it in a calmer, more polite and civilised way than I've managed. But this is where you have an advantage. Your teacher really, really cares about you. And if you're going to them and asking to do extra work, your teacher will find that you are a magical student, the one they've always dreamed of having. You're the student who's going to make their job worthwhile. I mean, forget the pay, Forget the holidays. It's you. You are going to bring joy to their tired, stressed hearts. Because this is also a shout out to your teachers. We hate mocks. We hate marking them. It ruins our Christmas. We end up eating too much because we get stressed, and then we take our marking away on holiday with us, and we end up drinking too much, worrying about the damn stuff. And then the school leaders want to know why you haven't done as well in your mocks as you should do, and it's stress, which is back where we started, and probably why you might feel your teachers are passing that enormous stress onto you. So have a heart, make your own life better, make your teacher's life better, learn how to redo the mock so that you get top grades. Now, if by some miracle your teachers don't want to give you top grade essays, you can get them from me. All of my guides contain top grade essay writing. I think this one has got 9 in it. 9 grade 9 essays. What are you thinking, Mr. Salles? Top grade answers for every single question. I could go on, but you'd get bored. You get my drift. That was dramatic. See you soon on my channel.